All right, man. Hopefully we can get some folks on here. Let's go see if we can set this up. Get some folks on here. Let's go see if we can set this up. Man, so we got me on here. Let's see if we can get anybody else on here, right? Make sure the sound's working. Cool. I think we got some sound. No? No sound? Do we have sound? I think we got some sound. No? Do we have sound? I think we got some sound. All right. I'm just trying to adjust on my end. We're gonna try to get a few more people on here. Awesome. Thank you guys for letting me know the sound is good. I got my iPad over here too. I'm gonna try to catch some of the live chat if I can too. If you got any questions, let me know. Um, Man, we're gonna do a live on building a little guy comp chassis. So hopefully it'll help you guys how I kind of go through it, and should be fun. So I think I'm gonna put you guys down on the tripod. We'll go for that. I'm gonna do another live here soon so we can see everything that's going on in this mess of a garage right now. But we'll get to it. So let me put you guys down on the tripod, and we'll go get into it. Awesome. I'm gonna slide this thing back. All right. So if you've never done one of these, I think they're really cool. They're really nice. So the idea around this one is this is our comp chassis that we built for the Innovate wheels. If you've seen this truck before, it was on the Little Guy website. Should be pretty cool. The one thing was we used this chassis initially to do a ton of different testing. So we had different axles, different shocks. What else do we have on here? Man, some different electronics at first. But yeah, lots of different shocks. We've had three or four different sets of shocks on here. Right now we've got a set of Little Guy, their friction shocks. We had 40 millimeter hot racing big bores on here. We've had some Next Racing shocks too. But this is what we've kind of come in. This is a full Little Guy build. We try to use as much Little Guy on here as possible. So, but you can see we use the gray chassis. But I think we wanted to go, I really wanted to go to a black chassis with it to kind of go with, I ended up doing like the brass links up front with the RC Steve link, titanium links in the back. Eventually, what I think might be cool is These axles that little guy's making, so the Spider 9s, I believe they're going to end up making these in black too. So, they're pretty cool in the gray, right? And they have the brass ones out too. But I think the plan is to go make some black ones too. So eventually this might get a set of black ones too. So the plan, we got a black chassis. I love doing the black with the gold hardware. So what's pretty cool is little guy makes a whole hardware kit specifically for their comp frame. So you can buy the kit along with this. It comes with all their hardware normally. They also make their whole hardware kits too, where you can get, lots of the different sizes and stuff too. Now, one thing you'll see, it's all color coded, and we're going to get into that too. So let's open this thing up. And guys, if you've got any questions, any other things, you've got any comments or whatever, all for it. Let's interact. Let's have a good time. So in the kit that you get, and I've got some other upgraded parts here. So you get a whole instruction kit, right? This is their whole assembly, and it gives you a whole breakdown of all the components and everything, how to put together the links, the fronts, the rears, all that. And then if you look on the back side, all the screws that are here, they're all color coded. So they'll tell you where based on that. So like your green, the green is like the M 1.4 is by 10, 1.4 is by 8, 5, 4s, and then they give you the 1.4 nuts. So it's like they have it all labeled. So let's look. When you get your hardware kit, you check out this hardware kit. It's pretty sweet, right? They color code all their specific hardware. So red, you can see red. There's all your M 1.4 by 4s, the nuts, your 10 mils, your 8, what are those, 8s? Probably. I don't know. Where'd they go? And then you got a bunch of the blues, which are the 5 millimeter. So we're not going to use the silver hardware that it comes with, unfortunately, but we're going to keep it because it's all really nice hardware. They give you a lot of good stuff, dude. So gotta love how they have set these kits out. They've done a really good job, and it just really makes it really nice. So let's go through, kind of do another little review of like the components. You got your skid plate, so we'll get all these open. We get our skid open because we're going to need that pretty quick. You got your front bumper. This is all billet aluminum. Look at these chassis rails. So if you've never actually assembled one of these or anything, they're super, super nice. There's not much on the market when it comes to like a billet chassis rail like this. So, there's they've got all the machine contours on them. It's pretty cool because most of the kits that we do out there, right, are either carbon, they might be aluminum or printed. They're just a flat rail, but this has dimension to it. It's pretty cool. It's flat, but they do a lot of cool stuff with it. So gotta love the rails. Now you got your whole link kit in here too. Comes with all the pivot balls, all the O-rings to assemble that. We are not going to use this kit on this setup because we're going to steal the links off of this guy because, man, RC Steve 710 double bend titanium rear, look at that. You get way more clearance. Really helps these trucks with the breakover being, flat, there's no, you don't have a big like 30 degree or 24 degree skid or 6 or, it's a 0 degree skid, right? So getting that extra clearance for the breakover is really nice. I really like their front link though, because it sits down in the skid really well and does have the slight bend radiation in the front. And these are their brass links because I'm trying to get a little bit of extra weight up front with the Spider 9. So one thing to note, the Spider 9s, they have brass diff cover and all the upper link setup. They will and are working on the brass knuckles for these too. So those should be coming soon. Been lucky. I've been able to interact a lot with Jordan and Nick over there. Really good dudes. Tony's an awesome dude. They make awesome quality stuff. So, and they listen to everybody's feedback. So, all right. We're not going to use the links. We do have our gold hardware. What's cool is since we're doing a bunch of gold hardware, Spider 9 gold hardware. So we're going to do gold hardware on those Spider 9s too. And then one thing with their whole comp frame kit is you have like your side skid rate, I'll just open it up. You got your side skids, right? A lot of these components like the braces up top, the shock mounts are all printed normally. We have opted to go with billet, the billet shock mounts, billet center braces. All these other components are all printed, and their prints are really nice, super duper nice. The drawback to a print is most of the time they're usually pretty stiff and they're prone to cracking, right? So just so you know, incoming in the futures too. So this is an eliminator kit, but if you look at these skids and all the other components that are on there, they're all injection molded plastic. So like the battery holder, all the ESC trays, all that stuff, all injection molded. So should be pretty cool. They are coming out with full injection molded kits for these things. So they're going to upgrade that. Listen to everybody's feedback. We are going to use a little bit of the plastic on here, or a little bit of the injection molded pieces. We use the side skids and probably the front battery mount to mount our, because I run a small battery on the side. We'll run the receiver up here, ESC on the side. So all these electronics are all pretty much staying in here, except for the servo and the receiver. Well, motor and ESC are staying because we're upgrading to this VTech RevTech motor. So we got one of Victor's RevTech motors going in there, and by far best ESC I have used, period, is man, the Escape 32 VTech ESC. They are so nice, so smooth. You feel so connected to them. So I wanted to do, this is my personal truck. Not going to get rid of this thing. I love this thing so much. I've had a lot of dial-in time on it. So awesome. We got some cool people on board. Appreciate you all joining. Man, we got Trey. We got 24 Yep on here. Wow. Super cool. All right. So let's get into it. So we are upgrading aluminum parts in a few spots. So how do we go about doing, throwing one of these guys together? What's the best way to go do it? So I like to get my components, like my shock mounts. I'll just go ahead and open these guys up. We'll get shock mounts. I'm not going to keep any of this stuff. Too lazy. Get all this stuff opened up. That was one thing with Little Guy, man. They package everything like crazy. It's super nice. They're super cool dudes. Man. See what else we got over here. So what do you guys got going on this Saturday? Anybody watching some football? Please tell me you're watching some football. I had some on earlier. We're gonna do I'm gonna watch the Notre Dame USC game. We're gonna be rooting for Notre Dame as usual, because that's our team around here. We are from Cali, but huge Notre Dame fans. So all this hardware too, saving all that because they got super nice hardware. Save all this stuff, save all that stuff to the side. All right, so let's get rolling. One thing we got to do too, you'll see the links, the lower links are captured, behind here. So I'm gonna pull these pull these links off with the axles and everything too first. So we're gonna have to disassemble. I probably should have done that beforehand, right? Instead of wasting everybody's time on there. Pull some wheels off if I can find the right size so we can get to everything. Pull these sweet gold innovates off. Get them off to the side. Man, I love this truck. John over at JB Designs did the paint for me. He does a lot of the paint for Little Guy too. He killed it on the paint job. This thing looks a lot like the real Innovate F350 truck that they have out there. Their race truck, so pretty sweet. So we are going to have to pull this guy off. You know, we're gonna pull the body off too. Jeez, it'll just make life easier. Pull the body off real quick. See everything over there. Get this thing over there out of our way. Man, I love this thing. It came out so nice. Shame it's got to come apart, but that's just the way it's got to be sometimes, right? So we'll save this guy if I can get the screw out. What's crazy is we're gonna have a whole nother nice comp chassis to go build another cool truck with. Hear that? I don't know. A couple people said, man, make it a giveaway. I don't know, we might. I was going through some ideas on that, and I was like, should we give it away? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. So we're gonna pull these off because it'll just make life easier. I got another one that we'll put back on this chassis. That way I don't have to redo any of that stuff. We'll pull this servo off. Unplug that. All right, we've just about got everything to where it's ready to come off. I gotta cut that zip tie. Let's go on over here, cut this zip tie off. Get to it. All right, there we go. Man, we got him undone, all undone. There we go. Let's almost. So we got the skids undone. Awesome. I'm gonna save all this stuff. Man, forgot how much was into this thing. It's crazy. Almost there. Man, these trucks are so fun. And, they're pretty long. They work really good in a lot of ways. For having that flat skid, they tend to, that can be a drawback on a lot of ways, right? So being a little bit longer really does help them, though. So let's see if we can get this guy out of here. Probably some Loctite in there. There we go. Oh. Gotta love having giant hands, right? Giant hands. Man. This one is being... It is. I got a lot of Loctite on here because I've had these nuts come off. But I use purple on these instead of like blue and stuff. So these are doing a lot smaller stuff. They are a much smaller screw. All right, so we're good there. Look, we got our whole back off already. Oh my goodness, feel bad pulling this thing apart, but. It'll make slamming it together pretty quick. So we'll get this ready, and then instead of building links, we're disassembling a chassis, right? So I feel like they come apart a lot faster than they go together, right? We got our buddies around the corner, racing around. It's all right. I know some of the people in the neighborhood get all frustrated. I don't care. They're having fun. As long as they don't do it around like the kids and run into somebody or something like that, I'm all good with it. Just be smart. All right, so now we got the front off. So we got those all disassembled. We're good there. We're gonna end up using this thing on something else in the future. I don't know. My other daughter has been talking about wanting a car too, so may end up building her one. So we'll see where that all goes. But it all comes apart super duper fast. All right. So now that we've got our mess started, we got our whole front. Now let's talk about like these Spider 9s. I love them and I hate them. I love them because they're super scale and cool looking. I do dislike that they use the nut to mount the link arms and the shocks. It makes it look super scale, but it's a lot more difficult. So just think about that when you're going to, put that stuff together. Make sure you're aware of that. If you guys ever go to do them, just know that's one thing you're going into. One thing we did on these, we did the Willwood caliper upgrade. I think it looks super cool. So yeah, I dig it. Man, that's not coming into frame very well, right? There we go. That's a little better. So yeah, they look sweet. All right. So we'll stick those guys over there for right now. So chassis rail, you'll see they have their they are indentations, front and rear, or for the screws, so they are countersunk. You can see the inner and the outer. The outside is nice and flat. They do chamfer the edges here for link clearance. So let's get rolling. Love it. So first thing we are going to do is, you can see, I like to assemble both sides with get your shock mounts on and get your cross braces on, because as you go to sandwich everything together, it just makes it a little bit easier. So we are going to, instead of using this kit, I bought this to show as a reference because I think it's cool. We are going to just, I'll make it myself. I'll make it easier on myself. We'll just go pull it out of here. And honestly, I'm going to keep all these screws because I end up using them. So, let's see how this goes. So you got your front and your back. You can tell the rear's got the longer section here, and you can see it in here in your, in this whole schematic. Super duper cool. They really, like, of all the kits that are out there, they're the only ones that I've ever seen that have ever done like a really good, instruction manual on that. So super awesome. And they tell you the orientation. What's nice about this skid too is it's set up for having the motor go front mount, so just be aware of that. We are going to be using an MR24. I already put the gold screws in it, so yeah, super cool. Where'd it go? So you can see, and like the MR24 fits this thing so perfectly. Man, it's so cool, so cool. So you'll see, sits in this orientation, right? And motor forward, super nice. Yeah, they really do design everything around their own components, right? So, okay, so let's start off. Let's get our shock mounts on. These are all the shock mounts are all blue, which is an 1.4 by 5. And if you look, see, even in their kits, blue. I mean, it is really hard to mess up. So, super dig it. So we're going to get these on. And you can see front and rear. Let's see, can't remember if these were different. I don't think they were. These are all the same, if I remember. Yeah. So let's do a front. And you can kind of see there is adjustability in like how you want to mount the shock if you really want to. I always go in their locations because that's kind of where we're setting things up anyways. I like the... Oh man, we're losing stuff. Making noise. I like the wheelbase, so it works the best for this. And but like if you're going to do something wild with a different shock mount or a different shock or something like that, you could do that too. So now always go in, not all the way, leave it a little bit loose. Get these guys going. Big hands, tiny screws. Just get it almost in there, then get the other ones on, and then you can tighten them down afterwards just to make sure you got them in there. And some people will actually, I've noticed, like, see if you look, this thing is rocking a little bit. So you do have to get them fairly snug. What it's going to do is you almost feel like you're going to over tighten it and strip it. So just go up on it slow, back and forth a little bit. What it does is there's some spring tension left in from the machining. Um, so just make sure you come up to it, go back and forth and snug them, right? Because they will be, now there's no more left in there. So that's why I assemble a lot of stuff by hand. You saw me using the mini impact for certain, pulling things apart. I will use that thing to put things together too. Just not all the time. Just depends on what I'm doing. Get this thing just a little snugged up there. And you can feel it nice and good. And you can, if you want to, you can put Loctite on the screws, but usually these, I've never had them come loose because there's so much tension holding them tight on there. So usually pretty good. And I'll leave these off too. We can do you can always slide those in at a later date. Put these on the outside. Yeah, they really have thought out. And I think Jordan came up with a lot of this idea to really help go assemble this stuff, because it really does make it easier. I mean, something like this, there's a lot more involved in some of these. So, because the shock mount's not built into the rail like some of our carbon fiber or flat rail aluminum ones that we build. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new one that they got coming out. It's got a little bit of a skid angle. I saw some stuff for how they're gonna set up like the motor transmission. Should be pretty cool. I was like, man, Jordan is definitely thinking outside the box a little bit, taking in a lot of customer feedback, and trying to come up with something pretty cool. So he and I were actually talking about a few other things when it comes to like motor mounts and things like that the other day. And yeah, I just love that they're open to the feedback from everybody. Like everybody, give them the feedback, let them go. Yeah, it's cool. Awesome. There you go. You got your shock mounts on your rail. Looking good. All right. So what's next up? So if you're, in order to get your skid in, you're going to end up having to, in all your other components, I always try to put in, so you've got, 3 pieces or 3 screws right here. You got a center screw, and then you got the 2 outers, and that's where your skid screws, or no, your skid screws in through there. Yeah. So what I'll do is you get a screw on each one, and then you can start getting your links all in there, and then you can get the side skid on. So we are going to make sure I got this oriented right. I usually end up laying things out a little bit. So this one, that center one, is a blue screw. So we already got our blue out. And that's I'm going to tell you right now, how many blue screws are there? 53 is what I think they have in the kit, is what they say is in the kit. So pretty crazy, huh? I'll rotate that up. And I won't snug it. Nice. I'll come up. We'll get the other, put the other guy on too. And it's cool. You know, it's so nice, you know, with this machine rail too. They're super stiff. You know, there's some flexion in them and stuff too, but having the screw countersunk in there, recessed in there, it's pretty sweet too. I mean, they just did a really good job in the design, and you know, they thought things out pretty well. So I mean, we're already coming together, you know. So that's how I'll start out, right? One thing you can do too to kind of help keep things a little more steady too, is you can throw your cross braces in if you want. I don't like to get this super duper tight because getting like the plastic components in can be a little more difficult sometimes. So what I'll do now, we'll get this open for the printed components. Get some of these laid out here. Oh, we got a little friend here. Here, I'll just pick this up. Hi, friend. What you doing out here?
I know.
You don't know? You just wanted to come out and say hi?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you watching Bluey earlier?
No.
No? No? That's cool though. You having fun though? It's Saturday. We're having a good time, right? Ooh, we got some football up there, right? So, what are we doing, Dash? We are putting together the black comp frame. So it's pretty sweet. We took the chassis off of that guy, right? Remember it was all gray?
Oh.
You want to bring him over here? That's fine. You can just carry him. He's fine. You got that whole gray chassis, right? So guys, he's got to hold the old chassis. Remember I was all gray? We wanted him to kind of all match with the black and gold, right? We got the black and gold theme going on. So, nice. All right, let's get back rolling in here. So, what I'll do is I'll leave it a little loose because sometimes getting these, you know, slid in here and then started can be a little more on the difficult side, right? So you could actually do that now if you want to, which I think I will. I'm going to get this one kind of snugged in there. And but we're going to modify this front piece with how I go do things. Get this stuff all out of the way. We're going to need these. This is all we're going to use, I think, on here. They give you, what's cool, is they give you little printed shock spacers and stuff like that, right, Dash? And they give you like, you didn't know that? Here, you want to see? Those are pretty sweet, huh? So what we are going to do first is I get rid of this piece out of here because it's kind of annoying. Well, I don't want to crack it. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It went flying off. Dash is like, oh no. Should have had it like pointed down. We got pieces flying all over the place, guys. I know. We're done, Dash, with cutting, I think. And so you guys know, because I've seen it. I got to see it the other day. They did, when they came up with the injection molded pieces, they redesigned like this piece a little bit too. So I just don't like that because I feel like it interferes with the cable for the servo, and I don't use it as a battery mount, right? So I use it as a receiver tray. So yep. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna clean this up real quick. Let me grab my...
Oh.
Grab my razor blade. I'm just gonna like Kind of clean it up. Denied, Gage. Gage is trying to call me.